Happy Monday, everybody. And I hope all you guys treated your mothers to a nice day yesterday, despite the crappy weather we had. It was mostly cloudy most of the day, a little drizzle, a lot less rain than they expected. But let me get into this because I try to keep these at 10 minutes or less. But the purpose of this video is to tell you about the 2020 Atlantic Hurricane season projections and what we can expect. Now, you've probably heard a lot about it already. Everybody's talking about how it's going to be a busier season. Is it a lot of hype? Are they trying to scare you again, like they like to do with a lot of things? Maybe, but maybe not. There is a lot of evidence to suggest earlier on that we could be in store for an active season. Um, does that mean we will get a lot of landfalling storms? Not really. You can have a lot of named storms in a season, like we had 18 last year, but what name do we remember the most? Dorian, because it gave us the biggest threat. Didn't Never hit anybody except the Bahamas. But you can have a lot of named storms, but not necessarily mean that we're going to have a lot of landfalls. A lot of those storms last year were very weak too. But so here you go, 14 to 18 named storms. They're suggesting 7 to 9 become hurricanes. This is put out by Colorado State University. 2 to 4 will be major, and then the funniest thing, one to me, is the 2 to 4 U.S. impacts. There's just no way to figure out how many storms are actually going to hit land. There's just too many factors in play that that will keep storms from hitting land or hitting land. So it's just way too soon to call something like that. Usually you don't really get a handle on that until a storm actually develops and the atmospheric conditions set up in front of it. So um, just know that it's supposed to be an active season. So the more active a season is, the more chances you have of getting something. So that's the forecast put out by Colorado State University. Um, Now I want to go into a couple of reasons why they're suggesting that we could have an active season. Now, if I pull up this map, you can see that over here in the Atlantic, it's very warm right now. Very, very warm water temperatures. You can tell by the oranges and the reds. If you look over here in the Pacific, you got a lot of blue colors suggesting cooler water. This map is a typical setup of a La Nina type season where you're seeing cooler waters in the Pacific and warmer waters in the Atlantic. And there's a lot of evidence to suggest that we are moving into a La Nina period, which does increase hurricane activity in the Atlantic and decreases wind shear. A lot of folks like to look at these ocean water temperature maps and say, oh, like the water is so warm, there's going to be a lot of hurricanes. No, not necessarily. There's a lot more factors that play in. Another one of those factors is wind shear. If we look at this map right here, all these white colors and the reds, that's stronger areas of wind shear. If I can get this map in motion, you can see how it develops throughout the period here. If you look towards the end of the loop, you can start to tell how the wind shear is lessening out here off the coast of Africa. With the greens starting to pull in, the yellow colors. Actually, across Gulf of Mexico and off the coast of Florida, as the season goes on too, you'll get a lot less wind shear over here. So wind shear is a big factor. That's what tears these storms apart once they develop. If we have a La Nina type season setting up like it looks like we are, then the wind shear will be a lot less. So it's not just warm ocean temperatures, it's also how much wind shear will there be in the atmosphere. So if I pull up another graphic, I can show you where it shows that a typical La Nina season might be setting up as El Nino fades out. But this is a graphic here. If you look at this, you can watch. This is in the Pacific Ocean. Watch as these dark blues and blue colors rise to the top, and it's pushing out that warm ocean water, which is a classic example of El Nino fading away and La Nina period developing. So another classic measurement of the type of weather event that's setting up in the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. Now, if we go into another map that I'd like to show you, so you got wind shear, warm ocean temperatures. Now, the warm ocean temperatures we already have. The wind shear is yet to be determined unless this La Nina is actually sets up, and then we probably will have a lot less wind shear. And then you got to have moisture content in the atmosphere over the ocean, and this is what we're currently what they're projecting according to what we're looking at currently. So that if you look here at the top, you see August to October. This is what's being projected. Now, if you look at all the main regions where we get storms over here in the Gulf of Mexico, it's looking like it's very, very moist setup. And then off the coast of Florida. And then this is your main development region where you get the Cape Verde type storms that track their way across and either head towards Florida or they do their little curve out to sea. But if you look at that, you can see that they're projecting a lot of very moist conditions here. And just below it, closer to the equator, you got the drier areas. But this is your main development region right in here. So as long as that stays moist, that'll be another factor that will aid into the development of tropical systems this year. What's the other factor that's usually forgotten is, you guessed it, Saharan dust. Last year, the ocean was dominated by this stuff, and no one talked much about it until later in the season, but it really inhibited a lot of the storms from developing throughout the year. And right now, it's too early to tell what it's going to look like, but obviously the orange and red colors is what you're looking at currently for Saharan dust, another plume right off the coast of Africa. If I roll this map down, we'll be able to see other images of where you can actually see that dust, which will be, like I said, it's going to be huge to come hurricane season, how much we actually have out there. And usually this is created by storms rolling off the coast of Africa throughout the season, tropical waves that they have. And as they push their way west, they kick up this dust on the dry land, and then pushes it out into the ocean where that dust can inhibit storms from really getting going. So that part is yet to be determined. We'll have to wait. It's a wait and see approach to see how much Saharan dust we put up with out there in the ocean this year. But like I said, a lot of evidence to suggest an active season for 2020. So have them supplies ready. No, you never know what we might get, or there could be a couple scares. It's really going to depend this year, as it does every year, on when we have these develop, where they're going to go, and it usually always depends on where these troughs are coming from, when they come down from Canada. How deep do they dig down? Where will that high pressure be set up this year? Will it be way over here and then allow the storms to curve out, or will it be closer in and have these storms push further into the land masses here in the continental U.S.? So we'll keep you informed this year, like I did last year. Excited to see what happens, and I hope you guys be safe throughout everything, and just keep checking back on my page this year, and I'll keep you guys informed on everything. Thanks for watching.